After Quran and Sunnah, the next they would consider is Amal Ahl al-Madinah. Then they would consider Maslahah. And then they would consider Qiyas. And then Urf and these other tools. The Shafi, the Hanafi, the Hanbali, the Zahiri, each with their methodology. A school of thought is really just a school with its own unique methodology. Each trying to see how to best represent the Prophet ﷺ in his absence on every new issue. But as with our family with a sick cow, they can look at these sources of evidence. As a lawyer or a jurist would look at usul. But you also remember that there are certain principles that the text is trying to protect. The text, a religious text, any writing is really trying to hold on to the meaning. The text has a purpose, the spirit of the text. The literal words are what we use to hold on to the spirit. And so if a context changes and the spirit of the law will not be served by applying the letter of the law, equity prevails. You cannot do injustice in the name of God. Why? We have enough teachings about standing for justice in the Quran that we will not allow your own ijtihad and juristic reasoning to override a clear maqasid and objective of Sharia. The Quran and Sunnah is so clear in so many places that we should preserve and promote faith in God, what is called the hifdul deen. That any ijtihad and juristic reasoning, any individual's interpretation that is going to end up causing harm to faith in God, we would put it aside over the objectives. Why? Because that objective of hifdul deen has been established by so many verses of the Quran, so many hadith, that we would rather doubt your interpretation than doubt the maqasid that are mu'tabar. They are based on clear text. We have enough evidence from the Quran and Sunnah that we should preserve life. The preservation of life is taken so seriously that there is no law in the whole of the Quran and Sunnah that cannot be put aside if it will save lives. In fact, another maxim will say, ad-darurat, when somebody is in a case of darura, dire necessity, tubihul mahzurat, allows those things that are usually prohibited. And so yes, the default ruling of Sharia is that pork is haram, but that is talking to somebody who is not starving. The default ruling is alcohol is haram, but that's talking to people who are not in a state of dire necessity. To insult Allah or to insult the Prophet is haram. Under normal circumstances, it would be a statement of kufr. But if you don't say it, and people will kill you. When Ammar bin Yasir came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, I feel very ashamed for something I did. The Prophet said, what happened? He found it difficult to say. And he said, these people tortured me and said if I did not deny Allah and deny you, they would torture me even more. And so I renounced you and I said so many things that were bad. The Prophet ﷺ asked him, when you were uttering those words, was it with conviction? It came from your heart? That's what your intention was? He said, no, far from it. The Prophet ﷺ said, not just you have no sin for what you did, but next time they do the same, repeat it. Next time they try to torture you, repeat it. Why? Because your actions are actually going to be judged by your intention and what is in the heart. That the laws of Sharia continue to accommodate people in various contexts. If one were to liken usulul fiqh to the driving of a car to a successful destination, knowing how to put the gear, knowing where to put the key, knowing how to turn, knowing that you should signal, knowing how to use your wipers if it's raining, all that ability to know how to drive, how fast to go, is usulul fiqh. But just knowing how to drive a car is not enough for us to say you will drive successfully to your destination. Transaction and social issues, like a lot of the topics we're discussing, those issues that are not ibadah or acts of aqidah. The moment it is not an act of ibadah, the general legal default in Sharia is al-aslu fil ashya al-ibadah. The legal premise of Sharia, the default law, the default judgment of Sharia is things are permissible in the absence of evidence. The onus of proof for saying something is haram is on the person saying it is haram. Halal is the default. Just as you say a person is innocent until proven guilty, before we've even heard the case, you've said he's innocent. And he remains innocent until evidence to the contrary can be established. The same thing in Islam, we have legal defaults. And one of them is that people are innocent until proven guilty. That harm is haram by default unless you can justify it. That justice implies equality unless you can show that there should be inequality in this particular case. That substances are pure by their nature unless you can prove that there is najas. But if somebody brings a substance and pours on your clothes, you can go straight and pray not knowing what it is, unless evidence can be established to the contrary. The customary laws, man-made customary laws, man-made public interest laws are halal by default. Traffic laws are halal by default. Why? Because they serve public interest and are ratified by maslaha. Or saddu zaria, preventing accidents. So when it comes to judging anything, be very careful about two things. Be very careful about making halal what is haram. But equally, be very careful about making haram what is halal. And it's a terrible thing to make a thing that is halal by default. You are treating it as if it is haram by default. When we look at customary foods, customary names, is Ungozi an Islamic name? Is it a halal name? Is Abu Bakr a Jahiliya name? Yes, so it's a pre-Islamic cultural name. But it didn't conflict with Sharia. So the Prophet adopted. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ungozi, it's Igbo. So we just ask, what does it mean? If it has a good meaning, even a neutral meaning, but they say it means blessing. Oh, like barakah, yes. Well, what's wrong? It's a very Islamic name. Let's be very careful about the simplistic classification of things as Islamic and Islamic. That is very dangerous for those of you in law. It's okay for general public, Islamic banking, Islamic studies, Islamic. But if you look at Islamic finance, a lot of mudaraba, musharaka, ijara, istisna, a lot of these things were pre-Islamic Jahiliya ways of business that met the halal criteria, and so they are halal. And they accepted it. In Islam, things are classified. There's fard and wajib, there's mustahab, mubah, makruh and haram. Be very careful about just saying Islamic, and then by assumption, if it's not Islamic, we will then say it's what? Un-Islamic. But makruh, there's no sin. It's not un-Islamic, even though we try to avoid it. The maqasid of Sharia. So if we carry on, as I get close to rounding up, if we look at the metaphor of the driver and the need for the knowledge of usul, but he also needs to know the traffic laws. But if you know the laws of traffic and you know how to drive, is that enough for you to get me to my house? If you don't know what my house looks like, if you don't know where my house is, how can knowledge of how to drive and knowledge of traffic laws bring you safely to the destination? And that's why it is important to have a deep knowledge of the maqasid of Sharia, the destination. I'm not enough to know when my child is getting better and when he's getting worse. And if I take my sick child to the hospital and the doctor gives his prescription, and we go back and the doctor says, come back in 2 days. And we come back in 2 days and the son is getting worse. The doctor says, here's this medication, come back in another 2 days. And in 2 days the doctor, the child is getting worse. I go to the doctor says, don't worry, here's another medication. Is that okay? Will you go back? Will you go to self-medication? Yes? Or will you look for another doctor? Yes. So even though I'm not a doctor, I know enough to know the maqasid of medicine. To know the final objective is that this boy should start laughing again, start playing again. And that temperature should go back to its 37 point something degrees. And his heartbeat should go back to what is normal. So while I don't know what is the best diagnosis and the prescription, I know when he is not getting better. And once until Maghrib time comes. It's not fun if you are a woman in your monthly periods. The time for Maghrib is flexible if you are a traveler. So what is the hukum of Maghrib? There's the normal hukum, it is wajib. But there's what they call the ahkam al-wadiyya, those contexts that make the conclusion fair to its context. We should continue to respect those fundamental universal teachings that all scholars accept. They are the ma'adum min al-din bil-darura. They are those things that are established by the Quran and Hadith mutawatir, that are ijma' qat'i. There's no difference of opinion among schools on those fundamentals. But when something doesn't belong to those fundamentals, and it is now open to human reasoning, ijtihad, what to do about the sick card, then you start increasing, or you get an error margin. And it becomes critical to triangulate. Like the topics of today, but like any other issue. You need those scholars who are good with usul, also good with qawaid, also good with maqasid, but who are also professionals of the subject area they are talking about. You don't get somebody who he studied usul methodology and usul and qawaid and maqasid, because I would want to say, maqasid is not a tool isolated from usul al-fiqh. It's a tool that comes in usually when you start looking at maslaha, sadd al-zariya and istihsan. The same thing with the qawaid. But ijtihad today requires triangulation. You need the ulama of waqi, the scholars of the field. You don't do fiqh on medicine if you don't know anything about medicine. And so fatwa councils on biomedical issues would always have the doctors who are competent in their areas. If you don't know anything about vaccinations, don't open your mouth to say vaccine, halal, haram. What do even though you should be diagnosed anew and given a prescription. If it coincides with the past one, good. But you don't blindly follow scholars. You do what the scholars did. The scholars went back to Quran and Sunnah. They went back to evidence and built their evidence. You can't just forget about the scholars, but you can't also establish your opinion on scholars. You establish your opinion on what the scholars established their opinion on, which is Quran and Sunnah. And for an acronym, if you remember Iqra, I miss you. Iqra, I-Q-R-A, ko? Yes, Ijma, Qiyas, Ra'ay, Amal. Iqra. I, istishab, legal presumption. M-I-S-S, maslaha, istihsan, saddu zariya. And you, and then the double S, sharu man qablana, and then the you being urf and I. Your teachers already know this. Inshallah, it will be easier for you to remember. Arabic language has over 100 words, 100 names for lions, of antelopes, and mountain goats, and ibexes, and gazelles. And in Arabic poetry, they have a lot to say about lions. You start wondering, so where are lions today? You can see it in their cave drawings, lions. But no more lions. From Lebanon to Yemen, Saudi Arabia, all gone. If there are any new ones, it's those that they are trying to introduce, or what you will find in a zoo. So what happened? In Arabic poetry, this part of the world also had forests. Today it's a desert. Desert. There's not even one river in the whole of Saudi Arabia. What happened was, people became very interested in hunting lions for the mane and the skin. And every king wanted a lion, or to be able to have the leather of a lion on his throne, or beside his throne, or stuffed. So what happened? They gradually brought the lions to extinction. After removing all the lions, you would have thought that's fine, it's all done, it's just lions. But because there were no more lions, there were no more predators to eat the gazelles and the antelopes. No more predators to eat the mountain goats. So they increased in their numbers. What little grass remained, the antelopes finished the grass. Any plant that was trying to grow, the mountain goats finished all of those. The ibexes, the oryxes, the gazelles, all, they just converted the place into a desert. And that's the desert we now call the Arabian Desert. The same thing happened in Yellowstone Park in America. Last century, they finished hunting all the wolves. Why? Because they felt that these wolves were eating sheep and goats and chickens of the farmers. So what was the solution? Just kill all the wolves. And that's what they did. They killed the wolves. But as the years and decades started to pass, they started to notice the environment was changing. They had clean rivers. The rivers are now getting dirty. The land was gradually becoming like a desert. People studied the phenomena and concluded that the solution to this problem, reintroduce the wolves. And they reintroduced the wolves. The wolves started eating the bison and the antelopes and the elk. And because the wolves were hunting, these animals would not stay in one place and eat everything completely. The moment they gather, start eating, wolves will come to catch. They will move. So they allowed the grass to gradually grow. As the grass started to grow, Whenever it rained, instead of rain taking soil straight into the water, the grass would filter. The river started to get cleaner. Fish started to come back. Who would have guessed that just removing one keystone species would affect the movement of the rivers, the cleanliness of the water? And as trees started to grow, 70 years later, birds started to come back. Squirrels started to come back. Beavers started to come back. Fish came back. Life came back. And what was going to become a desert became a live forest and healthy ecology. Within human society, we have keystone subjects, keystone species. And in the area of law, legal theory is a keystone subject. Unfortunately, the experts in those areas are becoming extinct. And we are getting a desert in our intellectual landscape. Extremism of every type. Scholars of hadith who know nothing about urf, maslaha, saddu zariya, shar'u man qablana, have now turned themselves, they are muhaddithun, they are respected, but they are now dabbling into fiqh and giving fatwas and being like muftis with no prerequisite qualification. Scholars of tafsir, scholars of tafsir of Quran who don't know about the sciences of hadith, but every Ramadan will give you wonderful tafsir. They don't study qiyas and maslaha and urf. Check their curriculum, it's not part of their studies. But today, everybody is dabbling into fiqh. And to compound the problem, it would have been okay if people knew who to go to. But many people are like villagers who come to the hospital. And he will take his pregnant wife to the doctor. My wife is sick. What's her problem? And the baby is moving one kind. But I'm a dentist. But you are a doctor. What is supposed to go to the psychiatrist is going to the gynecologist. What is to go to the gynecologist is going to the dentist. My prayer is that this department, you know what I like with these topics is you can't quote any scholar of the past. You have to know the history. And it allows us to see whether your thinking is archaic or whether you've got the operating system, version 2024, that will deal with current reality. I pray that the efforts that this department has started will be supported by to discuss topics that are relevant to current realities. That our Sharia laws are as if there's a need for ijtihad or juristic reasoning on a topic. Because there's a disconnect between the rulings of Sharia and the maqasid of Sharia, the objectives. And you do not have the competences to ensure that justice is achieved. And instead, you try to realize injustice in the name of Sharia, Allah will not support you. The Prophet ﷺ said, and he warned us, I warn you about the prayer, the dua of the mazloom, even if that person is a disbeliever. The Prophet ﷺ said there is no hijab, no barrier between the prayer of somebody who is a victim of injustice and the answering of Allah to that prayer. We pray that not as a judge, not as a lawyer, Allah will protect a community who govern themselves through justice, even if they are not Muslims. And Allah will not protect a community that govern themselves through injustice, even if they are Muslims. Allah is not our fan. Allah is not the head of our supporters club. Allah is with those who are just. I pray that we study the tools that help us get to justice, because justice, akrabul taqwa, is closest to godliness. Where I've made mistakes, I pray Allah to forgive me.
Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our Sheikh, Nuruddin Lebu. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for ourselves for having him. Students, you can see that it is he who chose not to be here who will find himself blameworthy. Whether you are a student of Sharia, let me just say, Sheikh, that the University of Ilorin uniquely, there is no student that passes through this faculty. As you are speaking, you are on Zoom from the virtue of the facilitation of the University of Ilorin. They are not only on Zoom. So this debate also, as you are streaming it on Zoom, is also streamed via YouTube channel of the department. So we are doing all the tools to redefine the Islamic legal education in Nigeria. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to assist us and make us achieve the objectives that we have set in our minds. Let me quickly recognize the presence and appreciate the appearances of our colleagues from Ahimman University. I saw Madam Isa Solahuddin Alawale a while ago. I can also see Mr. Adewara Tajuddin. Thank you very much from Ahimman. We hope you brought support at the moment. We do not take your presence for granted. Thank you very much. As we recognize. Yes. Okay. Management of the university for staying this far. I remember I had the BBC academic tell us that we'll be with you for a few minutes, but then we thank you for changing the mind. So we're moving to the second subject matter, is that some of the scholars from each of the school, one scholar from each of the school will be called forward to do balloting to determine the order of presentation, so that the management will have a taste of what the debate actually is in the Islamic law perspective. This is not a debate, this is a debate like no other actually. So I have the honor to invite from the Muftis School at the Apostolic to be followed by one of the scholars from the Ilorin School, Abdulbakir Abdulmujid, and to be followed by the scholar from the epochal school, Lawal Tajid.
Now, the debate by the scholars will be that they will be interacting with the issues raised in this video. Now, to ensure fairness, they are going to pick the order of their presentation. They will already know who's speaking first, second, or third. Then they will resume their seats. They will play the video. So after the video, whoever is supposed to go first will begin to address the audience, inshallah. So please wish them well. Now, because there are cases, no particular order. Yes, hold this. Yes, hold. Then go back to your seats. Open, represented by Deputy Vice President as a committee.
Someone is there, that board.
While the lecture was going on, I was in touch with the Vice Chancellor, and he has told me to announce that we have an open invitation to Sheikh Cryonics. I was an adjunct lecturer in this department.
I believe part of the protocol is that Sheikh Umar accepted the invitation. I only have to thank the Vice Chancellor and the management team is highly appreciated. If the VC had
For women who have their uterus surgically removed due to cancer or other complications. With Afterlife, premature births and C-sections will be a thing of the past. Afterlife is designed to help countries that are suffering from severe population decline, including Japan, Bulgaria, South Korea, and many others. The facility features 75 highly equipped labs. Materials that prevent germs from sticking to their surfaces. Every growth pod features sensors that can monitor your baby's vital signs, including heartbeat, temperature, blood pressure, breathing rate, and oxygen saturation. The artificial intelligence-based system also monitors the physical features of your baby and reports any potential genetic abnormalities. The pods are equipped with a screen that displays real-time data on the developmental progress of your baby. These data are sent directly to your phone so you can track your baby's health from the comfort of your zone. The app also provides you with a high-resolution live view of your baby's development. A special section in the app allows you to watch a time-lapse of your baby's growth and share it directly with your loved ones. Babies can recognize language and learn new words while still in the womb. Afterlife growth pods feature internal speakers that play a wide range of words and music to your baby. Through the app, you can choose the playlist that your baby listens to. It improves your learning experience with your baby. Controlled by artificial intelligence. Each baby receives custom nutrients tailored to their needs. The second bioreactor is designed to eliminate any waste products produced by the babies. The artificial umbilical cord helps the babies to release their waste products into a second bioreactor. With the help of a delicate layer of engineered enzymes, the second bioreactor can then recycle waste products and turn them back into useful nutrients. This way, the facility ensures a steady and sustainable supply of fresh nutrients to your baby. With afterlife, miscarriage and low sperm count are within the past. Prior to placing the fertilized embryo of your baby inside the growth pod, in vitro fertilization is used to create and select the most viable and genetically superior embryo, giving your baby a chance to develop without any biological hurdles. And if you want your baby to stand out and have a brighter future, our elite package offers you the opportunity to genetically engineer the embryo before implanting it into the artificial womb. Thanks to CRISPR-Cas9 genetic engineering, you can edit any trait of your baby through a wide range of over 300 genes. By genetically engineering the said genes, the elite package allows you to customize your baby's eye color, hair color, skin tone, physical strength, height, and many other benefits. It also allows you to fix any inherited genetic diseases that are part of your family history, so that your baby and their offspring can have Say goodbye to the pain of childbirth and birth-related muscle contractions. Afterlife provides you a safe, pain-free alternative that helps you deliver your baby without stress. The delivery process is smooth, convenient, and can be designed so you and your partner can enjoy the delivery. To ensure full transparency, our post-delivery free DNA paternity test helps you confirm the baby is genetically yours. Pets or carbon efficient, clean, renewable energy consisting of solar and wind your baby to make it to full term. And for those who want a more convenient solution, Afterlife is made accessible so your life can be easier. Thanks to of your home, allows to build a happy family, one baby applications. The concept of technologies and science to indicate functional value. Conducted by scientists and engineers since 1950s. Room for response to the adoption agency, unable to find a suitable surrogate mother.
Each car has 10 minutes to speak.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره الحمد لله من شرور انفسنا الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له اشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله اخوة الايمان السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. Esteemed guests and student scholars and beloved colleagues, I greet you with the greeting of blessing and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon us all. At the heart of this discourse lies the issue of artificial women, a technological wonder that challenges our individual conventional notion on reproduction and parenthood. However, in the purpose of my discussion, inshallah, and combating this complex issue, I will narrow down the discussion on the broader framework of enforcing the Sharia, which are the objectives, purpose, and ends of what Sharia comes to serve as benefit to mankind in this life and the after. And according to Sharia, it is classified into a three-legged classification. And we have the necessity, we have the embellishment, and also the chapter, Kitab al-Anbiya. He said, the Prophet says, everyone will be back with me, and Rahim Yamin. ثم يكون علقة مثل ذلك ثم يكون ملقة مثل ذلك ثم يبعث الله به ملكا يعبث بالناس يكتب عمله وأجله ورزقه إما الشهير وإما السمير وإما الشكي وفي رواية. Will the children gestated through artificial womb really have a soul? Will they have a destiny? Will the Malaika also go inside the artificial womb to bring soul inside it? Also, guys, about the destiny inside the artificial womb. All these are what complete, but the answer is not so perfect. Because the reason for our question is based on belief. That's the reason, and also the answer for our question also is based on belief. And the answer is that Allah wala kulli qadir. Allah yakhluqu ma yasha bi tariqi ma yasha. Kama yakhluqu Abdul Rashad, Nabi Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, biduna nutfa, biduna riyah, wa biduna arham. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do all things. He's omnipotent. He creates Nabi Adam without sperm, without egg, and without artificial womb, or even without womb, so to say. So, the rest of this, there is a saying among the scholars, and also being a principal saying under Sharia, there is Kulu Nahu Ajayis Mumkin, or less Kulu Nahu Mumkin Ajayis. All matters that are permissible are possible. But not all matters that are possible are permissible. Hence, we go to the permissibility of this artificial womb. Artificial womb based on our school, because of the Sharia, because of the youth. It will not be effectual and it will not be complete. For us to give a proper stance on a ruling, fatwa, on the shawun, unless we also go back to what the Salah is calling in the quest of giving a fatwa. They have the principle saying also, you cannot give a ruling in a particular matter unless you have an in-depth knowledge of this particular matter, comprehend all the features of this matter, then you can also give a ruling on it. Now, artificial womb as the name implies is an epigenesis, a gestational invention, which creates a womb-like environment through an extracorporeal device that helps to grow in the children fully developed from the beta stage to the full baby stage, as this may be. Now, in Makosi, the youth school, we have the legal instrument of doing such a thing like this, without the time permissible to otherwise, and it's at our Atawazun, textually from the word was literally, it means to measure. However, perhaps in this context, it really entails that you have to measure this particular matter. Does this come to serve any of the makosi, and does it contravene any of the makosi? With the video show, it is clear that artificial womb comes to provide an opportunity, an assured chance, an assured hope for unfertile couples to give birth to a new one. This falls under issue the preservation and promotion and protection of progeny as the Sharia requires. Now also, this artificial womb also has among its features what we call the Iskatasan, meaning it is the clustered, regularly interstate small palindromic repeats. And among this also, it has the effect of what? Of fixing inherent diseases, especially regarding hereditary diseases in baby. Understand? Before this will culminate into something that will not be normal and corrected. And this also part of what if we nurse under the Sharia. It's how the basis. And also regarding our comorbidities of women who suffer complication after delivering a baby. In fact, this also leads to death to some people. Also, this also falls under if we nurse, and it is a beneficial to the social. But this artificial also has some certain salient avoiding things, so to say. And especially about that case of verse 9, is changing the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, it's pretty noted in the video that you can change the skin color, the body structure, the eye color, all those wings and caprices intended changing of Allah's creation. Allah says in the Surah to Nisa, verse 119, Allah talks about the word of Iblis when he was giving, he was talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making a promise that on one of the going to the whole of law, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that whoever calls shaitan in this dictate of education of Allah, he has already sustained in clear us. First, as Moses says in the hadith of Asmun and Nasai, that's what Allah bin Masud, about those who are false and you what we call it Allah. Those who are what? Those who change the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these culminates into one single issue. The issue now is that all these evil in which is mentioned, it can be avoided. And if these evils are being avoided, then there is no problem. There is no problem for using artificial womb. So far it is in the state of damage, and also so far in the state of which, in the state of medical issue. For example, like Maya Okatanski, Kasa syndrome, comorbidities, and also about congenital deformities to women. All these will create a way for them to also to have an hope of having a baby in life. Wallahu a'lam. Subhanaka wa bihamdika.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Standing before you is my humble self, Dr. Higurunde, Department of Islamic Law, from the School of Epochal. I have a presentation for you on artificial womb technology that has just been displayed, and the perspective of the Sharia, particularly the Epochal, on the permissibility of this technology or otherwise. Islam is a knowledge, or Islamic law itself sets global standards, and Islamic law is encompassing, it is general, and it cuts across many contemporary issues, among which this is one. Artificial womb is a mechanism, as seen, that is aimed at imitating the natural womb. It imitates the natural womb, and its purpose is to save premature babies. If that is the case, we can also say artificial womb is an alternative reproductive system for women who have difficulties conceiving or whose uterus might have been displaced. This poses a lot of challenges to Fuqaha, and among these challenges is that if artificial womb can imitate the natural womb in terms of structure, can it also imitate the connection, the spiritual bond between the mothers and the children? If full artificial womb, humans can have inputs in some genetic and physical content of the embryos, can they also determine the color, the destiny of the babies? Will angels come to the artificial womb and breathe life in them? My colleague said Allah is over all things capable. Yes, Allah is over all things capable, but men are not over all things capable. Now, some other challenge that this artificial womb poses is it permissible to collect sperm or egg from persons who are not legally married and produce them? Looking at these challenges, we may be afraid of ruling out artificial womb or saying it is not permissible. But no, we are not going to do that as Fuqaha, because cutting the head is not the solution to headache. Therefore, we will also look at the benefits that are available in this technology. One of the benefits is that it saves a lot of lives. Imagine World Health Organization released the data that 287,000 deaths occurs from childbirth, from natural childbirth in 2020. If this artificial womb can come to curb that and facilitate reproduction, then this is a benefit for humanity. Also, there are some countries, as displayed in the video, suffering from population decline, like Bulgaria, like Japan, and like South Korea, and others. If the 30,000 lab-grown babies projected in the video are achievable, then imagine battalions of humans flowing into a population. When we weigh together these benefits and these harms, Fuqaha will have to apply techniques and principles that guide this, that guide the affairs, that guide any matter in matters of the students. One of these principles is al-umur bimaqasidiha. Matters are to be determined, or matters follow their intention, or matter follow their purposes. If the purpose of this system is to bring about ease and to bring about more reproduction, then it is something that Sharia calls to. But if the purpose is to deviate from the natural course of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you can never find any alteration in the course of Allah, then this particular system will be questionably impermissible. From these matrices and basis, the school of Fuqaha will come to the conclusion, in line with the position of Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami in Jeddah, when they gave ruling on artificial insemination. By way of years and adoptive reasoning, we are going to liken this artificial womb with artificial insemination. But Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami stated two conditions that are vital in determining whether it should be permissible or not. The first condition is that it must be for the sake of necessity. It must be for the sake of necessity. It should not just be for the fun of it or for the convenience. There is another qaida, that which is ad-darar yuzal. Harm should be alleviated. You will hear from the video that say bye-bye or say goodbye to pain as childbirth. What pain particularly are you referring to? If it is the pain of warning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed, then there is no way you can achieve that. But if it is the pain of 287,000 loss of life occurring from childbirth, then it is also reasonable that this formula applies. The second condition stated by Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami is that the sperm or the egg that will be extracted for this technology or for this system or for this purpose must be eggs from legally married couples. With this, the school of Fuqaha come to the conclusion that artificial womb technology is not to be outrightly prescribed. Rather, it should be allowed, it should be permissible with strict regulations to an extent. Hada walhamdulillah.
For that beautiful and thought-provoking presentation, may Allah increase you in knowledge. May I call upon the third presenter?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We can all see that the world is advancing through science. The medical science is advancing daily in and daily out. And this is one of the innovations that we think it is impossible. And they are making it seem that it is possible for us. Respected ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abu Wakil Abu Munjib. I'm standing on this podium to represent the Usuli youth perspective on artificial womb. And of course, I will be arguing against the permissibility of artificial womb. We should all know that as a Muslim, human beings generally tend to have desires for having children. Human beings naturally have tendency to have children, and this Allah affirms in Surah Al-Imran, verse 14, that we have beautified in the eyes of people the love for women and the love for children. And Allah and the Prophet of Allah said, that you should marry someone who is fertile and at the same time loving. Now, this shows that not as infertility is a great disease that must be cured. Infertility is a great disease that must be cured in our society. And Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has told us that for every illness there is a cure. I know women, I know me. Those who are aware of it are aware of it. And the only exception to that is death. However, the Islamic law tolerance for the encouragement of treatment should not be taken as a discretionary rule so that it would affect other things, because we should take in consideration the method that will raise ethical and moral questions, just like artificial womb that we have just seen. Now, what is artificial womb? Artificial womb is simply a medical device that is created to replace natural womb. Now, as a Mujtahid, I will be juxtaposing my position with the sources of Islamic law. And we have the primary sources, which include the Quran and the Sunnah, which we also have the secondary sources. That's what the Quran says about womb. The Quran says, Allah says in Surah Al-Imran that who alladhi yusawwirukum fil arham kayfa yasha. He is the one who embedded you in your mother's womb, however it is. Also in Surah Al-Hajj, Allah says, wa nukiru fil arham ma nasha. We settled you in your womb, in your mother's womb, for a specified time. These are plethora of authorities have told us and has let us to know that the only engineer of the fetus in the mother's womb is no other person than our Creator. Now, we have something we call azima and rufsat. Azima in Islamic jurisprudence is a general guideline that is expected for every Muslim to oblige, just like fasting. Every Muslim is expected to fast. But in a condition where you cannot fast as a sick person because of your difficulties or hardship, then you are exempted to not to fast. And this is applicable in this. We are taking artificial womb as the impermissibility as azima and the permissibility as rufsat. And this is permissible for a lady who has infertility disease or someone whose womb has been removed due to womb surgery. Now, and if we have not done that and we open the floor for unnecessary reasons, it would make many people, it will open doors, it will accompany itself with many devastating practices that will have far-reaching consequences. Let me point some potential harms of this artificial womb. Number one is that there will be adverse on the education of the child born. Number one is that there is this physical bond between mother and the child, and which will of course be lacking in this artificial womb. And similarly, we are in the present world where every lady is now trying to tilt to the trend of being an independent woman. They want to focus on their career. They don't want to go through any natal stress, antenatal or natal stress. And now, we are opening a door that should be closed for us, because this natal stress is what makes you, is an attribute that makes a woman a mother. As the last man of Allah said, we have enjoyed the children to treat their parents good, and this is because Kamalaki Umru Wakanani. You have to apply the principle of Mafhum Mukhalafa. It will be that any person, any woman who gives birth and does not go through the natal stress is no longer a mother. Now, is that it will be discouraging the institution of marriage. There are many people that have self-imposed single motherhood life, single fatherhood life, and this LGBTQ community, the money of Lagos from getting married. And lastly, but not the least, is commercializing of human being. Abba, what do you want to get to this? Now, imagine going to the economic industry and say, I want my child to be black, I want my what is the name of my they can be making them for purpose of work, or so that after they will have to be there. What we have to gain in all this? Because of violence, what we have to gain in all this? What do we want to achieve in this? Because of violence, children for human beings should be within the limits of the decree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for it. And we should not forget that the best person that Allah knows is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his beloved wife is Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, does not have a single child. His beloved wife was back then who had been to see as a do or die thing. In conclusion, I would like to end my talk with the quote of the glorious Quran, Surah Al-Shura, Quran chapter 42, verses 49 and 50. Allah says, "Lillahi mulku samawati wal ard, yakhluqu ma yasha, yahabu liman yasha'u inathan, wa yahabu liman yasha'u." To him with the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He creates whatever it is. He bestows whoever he wills, male or female child. And he bestows whoever he wills, male and female children. And he purposely himself will make some people bad. He himself will purposely make some people bad. And even God, he is of course the full knowledge and he is competent.
What we are witnessing is scholars' debates. How scholars discuss ideas from on the table of Islamic law. Well, so that we don't waste other time, so that we don't get bored, we will invite the next round of speakers who will also give us their opinions on the next item, the next issue. For this, I'll be inviting Scholar Rafi Abdul Rauf from the Muftis School. And then to be followed by Scholar Muhammad Mustafa Ibrahim from the Muftis School. To be followed by Scholar Abdul Hafiz. Yes, I never did. Scholar Abdul Aziz Abdullah. So please step forward to take your panel. So while they are opening their ballots, they will be standing forward very soon to discuss, to give their opinion, rather, about another emerging technology known as neural chips. This is a chip, an IC, that is being inserted into human brain to make human beings think like ChatGPT. So, who asked number one? So please step forward. Oh, sorry. Before we go number forward. So let's watch the video on human chip.
Is the third passion of research and user language, and showing well the opportunity to communicate to help people with disabilities or have access operate mobility devices. Trials were approved last year, but Ilorin has had to call for more scrutiny on its safety procedures. I'd like to welcome Professor Marcello again, and he conducts research on the ethically sustainable development of AI systems and neurotechnologies at the Technical University of Munich. Welcome to you. Tell us please, how exactly does this brain chip work?
Well, thanks for having me. So this brain computer interface establishes a direct communication pathway between the brain of a patient with a neurological condition and an external computing device. And neural kits involved in two technologies relevant here. The brain computer interface itself is technology that enables this patient, presumably a patient with quadriplegia, so the paralysis of both organs, to control a computer device for activity, but also help with the surgery robot that was using, which is the robot that is used to implant the parts of the patient's brain.
So there is a real opportunity here is to try to understand how to describe it to really help people. There is some clear benefits with this.
Yes, absolutely. We should remember that neurological disorders are a major component of the global burden of disease, and we cannot cure what we cannot measure. So we need to develop this kind of neurotechnology to understand the function of the human brain and to develop a tailored solution for the hundreds of millions of people worldwide who are suffering from disorders of the brain and disorders of the mind.
How safe is this?
Well, this is hard to tell because, as you already mentioned before, this is a first-in-human trial. This means this is the first time the human was implanted with this particular technology produced by Ilorin. However, we have good data that suggests that the procedure is safe. This is because before obtaining an approval from the FDA for a first-in-human trial, Ilorin had to produce evidence that the device was safe and effective in animal models. But they have conducted extensive research in monkeys and other animal models. There was also a release of video of that shows a relatively high degree of safety and efficacy. And also we should remember that this is not the first time that brain implant has been implanted on a human. In fact, the very first brain implant was implanted back in 1908, so it's 26 years ago. But this doesn't mean that the technology is not a novelty. In this last 2 to 3 decades, brain computer interfaces have made incredible progress. But this is criminal progress. So I think we can have a good confidence that the procedure is based on the clinical data and also based on data that we take from similar technology that we're using.
So the technology has been progressing substantially over the last couple of decades. I want to ask you a question, and I don't think it's good that I ask this, but if I have a chip in my brain, can someone hack into that and make me do something that I don't know?
And this is in fact something that has been proven in experimental models. That being said, the risk of a hospital attack, for example, happens to a patient using this kind of plan is relatively low because of the technology is not widespread. And also the benefits and the risks should be balanced against each other, and here the therapeutic benefit clearly outweigh others.
Fascinating talking to you. Thank you so much. I'm Charlie Yanko, Professor of Ethics of AI and Neuroscience at the Technical University of Munich. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we have seen and we have heard what neural chips are all about and what they are capable of doing. So, we will start to hear from the scholars their opinion on this matter. So, who has number one?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ibrahim Muhammad Mustafa, a 400-level student of Common and Islamic Law. I will be representing the Ilorin on the topics of knowledges. As we all see from this video, knowledges are a new invention bought by a company known as Neuralink. The company was established in 2016 by that phenomenon guy known as Elon Musk. So he is very notorious for groundbreaking innovations, and this is another innovation from him. From the Sharia perspective, we want to look at what neuralgic is, but to understand the matter, we need to look at what this neuralgic is first. So what is neuralgic? Neuralgics are tiny chips, like you have in your phone. You have some chips in your phone. Without that chip, your phone cannot function perfectly or normally, or even function at all. So we want to have a similar thing in our brain, in human brain. What does this seek to achieve? The neuralgics want to help those people with neurological disease. When we talk about neurological disease, we need to understand what neurological diseases are. These diseases are something like paralysis. That is the most closest analogy for this disease called neurological disease. When someone is paralyzed, there is stoppage, blockage in the flow of blood to from the neurons of their brain to that part of their body that is being paralyzed. With the help of this technology, that is the purpose. With the help of this technology, even though the paralysis will not be taken away, it will not cure the disease, but it wants to help them to achieve what is closer to being able to do as normal human being. Let's take note of the fact that this is not to cure disease, but to help individual suffering from paralysis or related neurological disease, to help them to experience something closer to reality. It is not the reality itself. Now, if you want to make judgments from Sharia perspective, as Usulul, we are going to look at the maslaha. By maslaha, I mean the benefits. What is the benefit of this neuralgic? The benefit of the neuralgic is to help individuals who are, as I said earlier, is to help those individuals who are suffering from neurological disease, to help them. When someone is suffering from neurological disease, let me make a distinction. Like someone who is suffering from neurological disease, paralysis, maybe their hand is no more moving. with the aid of that technology, they will be able, they are unable to move their hand ordinarily, but with the aid of that technology, something that they will not have ordinarily been able to do, they will be able to do it with the aid of that technology. Like now, I want to control this phone now. With that technology, the technology will read and write neuroscience, neuro signals in the brain. And with the aid of that technology, they will be able to control the phone. Like I want to open the window now. With the aid of that technology, I will be able to open the window. Now, that's the benefit. But that's not all. We need to look at the dangers too. What are the harms? That's why I said we are coming from. We want to look at the maslaha and the nafsa. The maslaha, that is the benefits. Maslaha, that is the act in that this technology is supposed to cause to human being. I identified 3 to 4 acts from this technology. And if you want to look at acts or dangers in something, according to Islamic law perspective, we need to look at the consequence. What is the consequence? That's why the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions have to be judged by that intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِمِ. So what is the consequence? What does this technology lead to? We need to look at that. As you can see from the experts, he said it was asked, how effective is this technology? What is this reply? It is hard to tell. That is, it is not certain. That's one. Secondly, he was asked, is this technology capable of hacking human brain? His answer was also in the affirmative. That is yes, because anything that has to do with computer, that has to do with data, is susceptible to hacking. So like you can hack the normal computer, you can also hack human being. That's another shortcoming of this thing. The third shortcoming that I identified from this, from the implantation of chips in human brain, is that the scholar, the expert that was asked, the AI ethic that was asked, said that like some neurological, most neurological diseases are immeasurable. And when the disease is immeasurable, there can be no cure for such disease. Now, what does the Quran say? The Quran says, وَلَا تَقِفْ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Do not stand on that which you have no knowledge. Something that we are not certain of, we should not stand on it. In the summer, our hearing, wal-basar, our in the summer, our hearing, our act of hearing, wal-basar, our act of seeing, wal-fu'ad, our act, kullu ulaika kana mas'ula. We will be asked about all these things. Furthermore, it is in the hadith of Nu'man bin Bashir in the Imam Nawawi hadith, 40 hadith, إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين وبينهما أمور مشتبهات لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس فمن اتقى الشبهات فمن وقع في الشبهات وقع في الحرام. إن الحلال بين حلال is clear والحرام بين حرام is also clear وبينهما أمور مشتبهات. Between them are matters that are unclear. And whoever indulges in the matter that is unclear, has also indulged in haram. So this is another fact from the Holy Quran. Another point that I would like to raise about this technology is that in the future, this technology is foreknowing. The act of foreknowing of this technology is that it is capable. It is capable of acting human being, of doing the thinking for human in the future. And when we arrive at this, definitely we are in a greater danger. From this, we conclude that the danger outweigh the benefit. And for that reason, this technology is not permissible. That's our solution.
Jazakumullah khairan for that presentation. May I invite the next presenter?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا وننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guest panel of judges, my dear brothers and sisters, my name is Muftis Abdul Adela. I stand to represent on the subject, Islamic law and technological engineering circle of life, artificial neurochip, and cryonics, with regard to the bifocal viewpoint of Maqasid Sharia. The recourse to the video reform watch suffice in the meaning and intent of neurochip. Now, what is the position of Maqasid Sharia regarding it? A Muslim is told in the Quran, Surah Al-Tin, verse 4. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ التَّقْوِيمِ. Verily we have created man from the best creation. When God created man, He did not say we gave him wealth. He didn't say we gave him a certain period of lifespan, but He said we taught him, that is, we gave him intellect. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ فَقَالَ أَنبِئُونِي بِأَسْمَاءِ هَؤُلَاءِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. He said He taught him the names of everything. It occurs to us that the issue with regard to intellect falls under the 5 components of Maqasid Sharia under the Ruhiyat. It is the human discrepancies between what is right and wrong. It gives him the ability to make choices and gives him the ability to invent new things. Regarding choice, the greatest choice man has ever made is misunderstanding, which has led to a plethora of intricacies. For this reason, Allah Ta'ala adjourned us, He admonished us in the Quran for us to use our reasoning. For example, Surah Al-Qasas, Quran chapter 23, verse 60. Also Surah Al-An'am, Quran chapter 6, verse 32. Where Allah said, وَمَا الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا اللَّعِبُ وَلَهْوٌ وَلَدَارُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Allah is asking us, are we not going to use the intellect, our reasoning, which He has given us of free will? The human cortex, as we have watched in the video, it is described to be in the middle of the brain. It has, the cortex alone, without any interference, has the ability to initiate a lot of activities without any physiological interference. Now, we need to understand that the issue regarding this is very crystal clear. Allah Ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Israel, Quran chapter 17, verse 70. He said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُم مِّنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَىٰ كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّا خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا. Among all preferences, Allah Ta'ala said, it is human being that He has given the best of all preferences. We should understand that the use of this neurochip has a beneficial purpose. It has a great beneficial purpose. So we need to be very cautious as well as to the other side of it. For example, using neurochip to treat diseases and mental disorder or mental issue is something that is allowed in Islam. But when it goes in contradiction with the ruling of Allah, for example, when someone begins to think that he can use technology to become perfect, or quite right, he can use technology to enhance his brain, so it becomes disallowed in Islam. It is always allowed for a Muslim to seek solution to a problem. In fact, they say that a solution by an assumption leads to total destruction. When a Muslim decides to inflict on himself, a destruction, it is allowed. For a Muslim to fail willingly to seek the availability of his problem, the solution to his problem, it is allowed. Let's assume that the brain chip is a solution for one to be able to move. Someone who is paralyzed or someone who is blind right from childhood, as it is being depicted in the video. It is good for that to be, something that is taken into cognizance by a Muslim. In fact, Allah told us in Surah Al-Baqarah, Quran chapter 2, that verse 195, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Do not draw to yourself, whether by commission or omission, what may inflict upon you something that will eventually perish you. Nullifying the purpose of this act, as this deals with, is something that can lead to poor health. It can lead to psychiatric complications. It can lead to disability. In fact, it can lead to crime. It can also lead to violation of deen. So for this reason, we understand that seeking for the cure which is available is very, very crucial. The Prophet Muhammad told us that there is no disease that will come on earth except that the solution to that disease resides first. Those who knows, and those who has no idea, has no idea. Now we have said that seeking a solution to a problem is very important. But I want to ask, what if these neuro enhancement capability or pathway, this neuro chip, health benefit, which I have explained, what if in a case that is being brought into existence, it becomes the cost that can only be afforded by the wealthy to the expenses of the poor? So how on earth do you think you can avoid inequalities in dispensing what the poor cannot afford? For example, you assume that the hospital is well fitted with, sophisticated equipment, is only being afforded by the rich people and not the poor. So it is crystal clear up to now that this whole thing is but a hypothetical scenario, in fact, conditional. For example, the new, as before mentioned, it is so simple. In fact, it's not simple for us to decide as to whether it is haram or halal or give a specific ruling. So we have to look at the application. Many medical fields, genetic, genomic, human genome editing, and also we understand that neurology itself, they are all promises. There is no certainty as to whether it is capable of curing the disease. So now we are saying that is it possible for us to ask the religious scholars as to their opinion when we know quite right that it is hypothetical issue. So we have to wait until we see the real purpose of it. Now if you look at the video that we've all watched, the first man that received this neurochip is paralyzed. He's not capable of walking, still in the wheelchair. The only advantage that the thing has done for him is that he's able to control the computer with just his mind, which is known as telekinesis. So in this case, you understand that that is one thing that made him think that he's a wizard. And this goes in contradiction with the ruling of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, we do not expect me to come here and tell you it is halal or it is haram. As I mentioned, it has to do with the usage. It is used for halal purpose when we say it is halal. And it is used for haram purpose when we simply say it is haram. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdulaziz Abdullah Boyo. the 511th student of Department of Islamic Law, Faculty of Law, University of Ilorin. As a representative of the epochal, of course, I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of the epochal. And while doing that, this argument is going to be, we are going to be making use of the Quran of the Sharia, which is, of course, the instrument of the epochal. My argument is on neural chips. First, what is neural chip? The neural chip is a cosmetically invisible electrode inserted to the brain to record neural activities. It is a part of the tools used for neural link. Then, what is neural link? Neural link essentially is a process of enhancing the brain neurons to simulate the direct control of the nervous system by the mind. The overall idea of neural link is to be able to ensure that persons who have disabilities, or by one reason or the other, are unable to do things that they were able to do before. This is to enhance them and ensure that they are able to do business. Of course, neural link is an emerging technology, and considering the fact that Islam is a religion that addresses every aspect of the human life, Allah has left nothing untouched in the Quran. Then the question, how are we going to pass a fatwa on this? What is the legality? What is the permissibility or otherwise of this neural link? Of course, in situations like this, where we have things that are coming that were not in existence during the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad, to the mind first of the Qaida is that al-aslu fil ashya'i al-ibaha. The basis of everything in Islam is permissibility. However, it must be noted clearly that it is only in relation to mu'amalat, that is contractual or interpersonal relationship. And this reality of the faith is not a part of mu'amalat. It is not a part of mu'amalat. From the video, as you have seen it, we are able to deduce that, okay, before we place a judgment on this, there is a need for us to consider the Sharia issues in this thing. Now, what are the Sharia issues? From the video, we are able to deduce that, first, there is a thing as the intention, the rationale behind the making of this technology. Also, we have the fact that before this technology can succeed, there is an implantation of neural chips into the human brain. Another thing that we have as a Sharia issue is that there is a possibility of hacking. On the first one, as to the intention behind the making of the technology, this has been answered in the video as been earlier. However, a more sophisticated answer is also provided at Neuralink website. And according to Neuralink.com, the mission of Neuralink is to create a generalized brain interface to restore autonomy to those with unmet medical needs today and unlock human potential tomorrow. Having known the intention, of course, we are to examine this intention. Is it good? Is it bad? And in order to determine that, one of the qawaid that comes to the mind is ad-dararu yuzal, how should be removed, as well as another point that al-mushaqqatu tadribu taysir, hardship should be mitigated. Now, if you ask me, what are the hardships and what are the harms that this neural chip of the thing has come to take care of? When you look at it, it's according to the World Health Organization, in 2024, at least 15.4 million people are living with paralysis. In other words, this neural link has come to be a way out for these people that are living with paralysis. Hence, if the intention behind the making of or behind the development of this neural link is to ensure that people that have paralysis are still able to do things that ordinary humans are able to do. And in order to decide again on the rationale behind the making of this neural link, it's important to listen to Elon Musk on an interview on 29th of January 2024. He said that the first person who has received this operation, it was successful and the person is giving positive signs. The first person was Roland Arbor. Now, the essence of this is that we are bringing it back to the qaida that ad-dararu yuzal, harm should be removed. When something is being created, the intention is good, it removes harm, it mitigates hardship, and it does not violate any underlying principle of Sharia. Of course, we have to say that this is halal. Another thing to consider, another Sharia principle to consider, is the fact that there is implantation of neural chips into the brain. When you look at this, there can be nothing, there can be no procedure possible if this chip is not implanted into there. And as a student of Sharia and as a faqih, what comes to the mind is the issue of tampering with Allah's creation. Of course, he is expert, and Allah has said that La tabdil al-khalq lillah. You should not tamper with the creation of Allah. However, are we going to be reaching a decision to nullify neural link on this basis? No, we are going to be drawing inferences from other things. One of those inferences that we might be able to draw is the sharp struggle that was done to Prophet Muhammad when he was young, the operation of the heart. It was reported that Jibreel came to the Prophet. He operated on the heart of Prophet Muhammad. He removed the death, he removed the evil, he removed everything. Itself is a way to show that harm has been removed. Then if you ask me what is the applicable qaida here, it is still ad-dararu yuzal, harm should be removed. Now, what is the harm that was removed? Of course, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a human. He could have been controlled. If this evil had not been removed from his mind, there is no way that Shaitan would not have been able to control it. Hence, he might not have been able to deliver the message sent to him by Allah. Hence, harm has been removed. Another thing to point to is a hijama that was given to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when at some point in time he was complaining as to his difficulty in remembering things. Then hijama was given to hijama essentially means copying, that removal of some parts of blood that affects the brain. This essentially is brain enhancement if you look at it very well. And of course, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself has brain enhancement, why are we to say that we should not do it? And of course, the qaida applicable here is still abnormal result that you should remove hashish. As well, you can also use al-mashaqqatu tadlil al-taysir, that hashish should be mitigated. And the hashish that was mitigated on the part of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the fact that after that hijama was done for him, he was able to remember things properly. In other words, his memory was enhanced. Also, if that was done by Allah over 1,400 years ago, why are we to say that now that we are in modern time and it has been proven that there is a robot that has 87.1% accuracy to do this same thing, why are we to say that it should not be done when it violates no underlying principle of Sharia? Another thing to point out, still on this issue of tampering with Allah's creation, we are able to draw inferences from the fatwa that has been given by scholars by the venerable Jews. One of them is in relation to the issue of cesarean section, that's operation by women that are giving birth. It has been stated by scholars that this is accepted, although when it is impossible for the woman to give birth. Also, it has also been said that it is acceptable when the person is to be operated so as to save his life, so as to ensure that harm does not come his way. And of course, the principle that is applicable here is that necessity permits prohibition. Even though ordinarily the person, Allah's creation should not be altered, but necessity calls for it. A person who is disabled, who is unable to do this, he was able to do it before. Ordinary now has an opportunity to do it. Of course, and it does not violate any existing legal principle in Sharia, then it should be acceptable on the basis that the necessity here is the fact that he is unable to do this time. Moving to the last issue, the possibility of having. This is ostensibly very clear that anything that can be computerized and is technological can be hacked. Yes, we agree. However, is that going to be a basis to nullify this theory? Of course not. We rely on the principle that certainty is not to be dispelled by doubt. What is the certainty here? What is the doubt? The certainty here is that neurally has been done. It has been, the operation has been carried out successfully on someone. It is in existence. There is a possibility that it's going to become better later in the future. And there is, according to research by the National Library of Medicine, as well as the FDA of the United States, there is a very high tendency that this is going to be successful. In fact, it was successful on Nolan, and on January 29th that Elon Musk had an interview. Also, on another hand, we also consider the point that where there is a benefit, there is not, there is a last law. There is a last law. Now, looking at it, neurally, of course, it has benefit. When something has benefit, then there is a last law. There is a last law. Bringing this to a closer view, everything that we do now has a point of technology. The university cyberspace, the IMF cyberspace, the CBN, everything can be hacked. Are we saying because of these things can be hacked? Are we saying that we are not going to be making use of them? But the way we are and it's on this, I would like to say that after considering this argument, the opinion of the fuqaha is that Neuralink is permissible in Sharia.
Presentation. They allow you want all the presenters and make you grant you beneficial knowledge and understanding. So go to the last video about Cryonics. Okay, all time.
you will